Hey everybody, this is Anaris of Anaris StarCraft, and this is going to be the final match in the best of 5 series with BorgBear spawning as Protoss down in the 7 o'clock position, and his friend Tempest spawning up here as Protoss in the 2 o'clock position. I am going to go ahead and make this a little bit faster here just so that way I can save in a little bit of space on my upload time and whatnot, as these players do go ahead and get off to their build orders here. And I guess I'll go ahead and slow it down here so you guys can see what's going on. Looks like the two pros are going to come in here for the high five. Will they touch? Yes, they do. They give themselves headbutts as they are super cool probes as they go and scout the other opponents or the opponent's base. Both players do have their pylons down here. Might see some early expansions. Borg is going to go ahead and patrol around here, just being the cool kid that he is. Not really sure what he's doing with that here, but we will have to see. Last game, he did go up into Tempest base and build on both of his Vespene geysers. I'm guessing he was trying to deny tech, maybe some scouting. However, that is 150 minerals that, unless you cancel the buildings, that is down the drain. So we'll have to see if he does do that again, as he is just going to go ahead and keep his probe right here at Tempest expansion to keep an eye on what he is doing as he is building his own buildings at his expansion. And Tempest is going to get in here and scout around, make sure there's nothing up here going on. Borg actually did kind of psych out Tempest in the first game by blocking off his ramp and then going a completely different tech route than what Tempest saw while he was scouting in there. So, good move by BorgBear. We will have to see what tactics each player employs this game to secure a win and take this best of 5 series back home. So we'll see what happens here. Borg is going to go ahead and pull a Tempest and deny Tempest's expansion. The last two games, Tempest has expanded pretty early, which has given him a good economic advantage as the game progressed. And Borg wasn't really able to, come back from that point. Borg did do a good job in canceling that. When he realized that there wasn't going to be an expansion there. However, it's kind of up in the air as to whether or not you want to cancel it. If you know a player is going to expand there, like Tempest did the past 2 games, probably a good idea to go ahead and leave that pylon there. But if you're just doing it to harass a probe, like if you see the probe down here and you know he's getting ready to build it, you can cancel that pylon and rebuild it, or just keep dancing the probe around. Whatever you want to do, it is okay. Tempest does have, Borg did try to put a pylon here to block Tempest Zealot. However, the Zealot was too close and denied the probe the victory. The probe was able to get away, however, and Tempest does have these buildings at his natural choke. However, there is a really big gap here, so Tempest is going to have to make extra sure he does have the units to block off any sort of rush that goes past the Zealot, as he does drop his expansion and continues to go ahead and get his economy going. Like I said, both players kind of macroing up, doing their own thing here. Borg does have his natural completely sealed off with these gateways, as well as the Zealots here hanging out in the front. Yes, Reaper, making pylons is a very good skill to have, especially if you plan on playing a Protoss, which both of these players are doing in this best of 5 series and have done so the entire time. Like I said, these players, they just prefer Protoss, and you can tell by watching the series. So, anyways, not really sure where I am going with that, as sometimes I do fail horribly at English and whatnot. But that is okay, because we are here to have fun and watch these players duke it out. And both players are just kind of macroing up, like I said. I'm actually just going to go ahead and look at what's going on here in the middle of the map, as Borg does have some Zealots coming out here. We'll have to see what he plans to do. Borg does have a pylon here, which will allow him to warp in units and reinforce any engagements, like this one right here. He does, Borg does see that Tempest does have a cannon, so he's not really going to be able to get in here and do any sort of damage without taking a whole bunch of hits himself. But anyways, back to this pylon placement. He does have this pylon here, which lets him reinforce this area, while kind of more or less giving this pylon immune to direct assaults. Anybody that wants to attack it is going to have to come out here and either bring an air unit to get range, or come up here and attack it this way. So, good move on BorgBear's part. Both Protoss players do have a pylon at their rocks for scouting to make sure nothing, no units do try to break into the expansion, or not the expansion, but the rear of the base. And if they do try, you know, they'll at least know about it. So good move on the part of both Protoss players here. Borg is going to go ahead and get up an early expansion. It looks like he has learned from the past 2 games that, you know, not taking advantage of that early expansion will cost him the game. So definitely see this game getting fast-paced a lot earlier, as both players will have considerable more income than the previous games. Both players, you know, just kind of taking their time, macroing up a little bit here. Not a whole lot going on. So, but Borg is going to go ahead and send in the Zealots here. However, he's not really going to be able to do a whole lot. Even with these sentries, you know, there's only really so much you can do to a choke like this without taking a whole bunch of damage yourself, especially since he just doubled his cannons right there. Borg is going to go ahead and come in here and try to get an idea of what Tempest is doing. Looks like Tempest is going a pretty similar build to his previous games. Not too much deviation at this point. Both players do kind of have a feel for, you know, not only each player's normal playstyle, but, you know, the playstyle that you kind of deviate onto. You know, most players I know with each race, they'll have, you know, one main type of playstyle, and then they'll have the kind of fallback playstyle that when, you know, when the first one doesn't work. So both players kind of know what's going on from each angle here, know the sides, and they're just trying to adjust accordingly. So, like I said, really not too much going on here. I'm just going to go ahead and speed it up just a tiny bit. Nothing against these players. I just want to go ahead and reduce the file size a little bit here, as I am not a YouTube partner, so I do not have the advantage of being able to upload videos larger than 10 minutes long, and I would like to keep this game to 1 file if possible. We will see if that is the case. So, anyways, it looks like Borg is going to go ahead and warp in sentries, and he is bringing in some Immortals. Definitely a good choice, as, you know, BorgBear's lack of Immortals last game really kind of cost him a good bit. Borg is going to come in here, and the backdoor entrance, Tempest was not really able to react in time, and Tempest is just going to decimate, or BorgBear is going to decimate Tempest's army, kind of catching him off guard here. It looks like Tempest was kind of building up and whatnot. However, BorgBear did catch him before he was able to really get his forces to a considerable level, and he is just going to decimate this base. There is really not a whole lot of hope for Tempest at this point. You know, especially since both of his robotics facilities were just powered down. These probes making a valiant effort to try to save this game. However, the second pylon has gone down, and now all of his production facilities in his main base are completely powerless. And what are these guys doing? They're just dancing. What? I don't even know. These probes are going to continue to make their last stand. It's just not going to be enough, Tempest. I am sorry, but these units are just killing you. Probes are not for fighting. Oh man, I am so sorry for these probes. And meanwhile, Borg is going to go ahead and reinforce this battle. It's looking like, you know, Tempest isn't really able to reinforce much at this point. He does have this one gateway here, however, he's not really producing too much off of it, as it is sitting here with its cooldown up to build a unit. Yep, this is pretty much looking like it's going to be over for Tempest in this best of 5 series. He is going to go ahead and transfer his probes down in a last-ditch effort to try to maybe get enough money to build up a forces just long enough to hold off BorgBear. He was able to get this pylon up, so these robotics facilities were powered back up. However, this one was already low enough as is. It wasn't even able to finish its building, and Tempest was not chrono boosting that out. However, it didn't really have enough time to get out anyways. As the Colossus comes in now, the mighty Colossus is going to fry this Nexus. However, you know, Tempest is really at this point not really going to be able to do a whole lot. You know, he is going to go ahead and try to build up down here some, but he just does not have the income. As you can see in this tab, it is about 300 to 900, as Borg does have his expansion going, which is for the most part saturated. You know, he's got upgrades coming, he does have his full base building here, and it looks like Borg is going to go ahead and move in for the kill with his forces down the ramp into Tempest's base, or into his new base, which used to be his natural. Tempest is going to go ahead and throw down some cannons. However, it's not going to be enough, as these force fields deny these probes any sort of escape route. Oh, you just died a horrible death. I am sorry for you, probes. As like I said earlier, you are not fighting units. You should not be engaging these forces. And that is a GG from Tempest, which concludes the best of 5 series. Congratulations to BorgBear, who is the winner of this Protoss versus Protoss series. Great games from both players. Just to recap, Borg was able to take the first 2 games which brought him to the 2-0, and Tempest was able to change his strategy with an early expansion in Game 3, which actually that strategy secured him both Game 3 and Game 4. And then in Game 5, both players kind of had similar builds. However, BorgBear was the more aggressive player, came in with a proxy pylon here in the middle of the map, and sent his forces up through the back ramp of Tempest's base. Tempest not really able to react in time as BorgBear just plowed through, destroyed the pylons, powered down all the production buildings, and secured this game. So like I said, congratulations to BorgBear. Well played both of you, and this concludes our best of 5 series on Inara StarCraft.